There we go. Solve quadratic equations by using the quadratic equation. I don't know if you guys recall that one. Remember the minus b plus a minus and the square root? That's the one that we're going to be working with right now. So just watch me doing this. Oops, you guys cannot see what I'm doing, so hold on. Now you can. Okay. Solve quadratic equations by using the quadratic equation. And we're going to be creating the quadratic formula. We already did the complete the square. We learned how to complete the square. So knowing that, we're going to use those steps to create the quadratic formula ourselves. So that's why I just want you to watch this. You're not going to have to do it again, but I just want to show you. I'll do it very fast so you guys see how the quadratic equation comes from right here. We have, this is the standard form. This is the standard form of the quadratic equation. Is this one. How we're going to get from here to the one that we want to get, which is this one. We're going to get there by completing the square. That's how we're going to get there. And how we're going to do it? By completing the square. So let me start. So we have ax plus bx plus c. We need to start with a 1 here. Remember that part? That it needed to be 1? Okay, so we are going to divide by a on both sides. So what do I get on this one? X squared by itself, b over ax, and before I do that, now I'm going to move this term to the other side because I want to complete the square. So right here, I have x squared plus b over ax Now I'm ready to complete the square. So it's going to be half of this one, remember? And then a square. It's going to be 1/2 of b divided by 2. And right here is going to be that square. That's the number that is going to go here. Let's do this. Let's do it on the side. So we have BA divided by 2. What is this equal to? BA division becomes multiplication and I flip the number, reciprocate. So what do I have? B to A, right? Now this is a square. So it's going to be b squared over 2 times 2 is 4a squared. And that's the number that is going to go here. B squared divided by 4a squared. And I'm adding that number on both sides of the equation. No need to write it down. Just look at what I'm doing. So I complete the square. Now it's going to be x plus b correct? On this side, I need to have the same denominator. So we're missing a 4 here. I need to multiply that by 4 and another a, right? So I need to multiply by 4a. 4a squared. Sorry. So now I have the same denominator. And the top is going to be negative 4ac. And this side is going to be now right there. I'm going to use the square root property right here. Right here I'm going to use it. So if I use that, what happens? If I use it here, this is going to be plus or minus square root. So we have x plus b and plus and minus, right? 4a squared, same denominator, right? Now, I'm going to do this one first. B squared minus 4ac, that order. It's looking like the quadratic formula now. Now I'm going to subtract this one on both sides. So it's going to be x equal to negative b over 2a plus and minus b squared minus 4ac right here. Look at this step here. This is inside the square root, right? So when it comes out as a 2a. We have it as 4a squared. So it comes out as 2a. Okay? So now, x is equal to minus b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. They have the same denominator divided by 2a. And that's the quadratic formula. So we started with the standard one. And by completing the square to this one, we got to the quadratic formula. I just wanted to show you that, okay? You don't need to know how to do that, don't worry. Now, let's start with the exercises. Mhm, mhm. Okay, this one. We have a 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 equal to 0. I always like to start by first. It's in the standard form, right? So A is equal to 3, right? B is equal to -5, and C is equal to 2. There we go. Now, I like to write down the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to minus b plus a minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. And all we need to do is plug in these numbers here. So we know that x is equal, b is negative. So don't forget that you have two signs here, the -5 and the negative from the b. -5 is squared minus 4, a is 3, and c is negative. Over what? Over 2/8. So this one becomes positive. This is 25. This is positive. It's going to be 12 times 2. That would be 24. 2 times 3 is 6. So this is 5 plus a minus the square root of what? 49 divided by 6. So this is equal to 5 plus 49 is 7, right? Divided by 6. So right here, we're going to have two answers. Don't forget that. One is going to be, x is going to be equal to what? 5 plus 7 divided over 6. That will be 12. That's 2. And the other one is going to be 5 minus 7. So that would be -2 over 6. That would be -1 over 3. So we're going to have x equals to 2 and x equals to -1 over 3. Let's do one with the square root. Any questions on this one? Winston, good morning, and Erica. We're solving quadratic equations by using the quadratic formula. Let's do another one. 3x squared minus what do you notice there? We need to move this 2 to this side. Why? Because I need it in this form. This is the standard form, and it's not. So minus 2 equal to 0. You just subtract 2 on both sides of the equation. Now we're ready. So let's do it. So A is equal to 3, B negative 8, and C negative 2. Let's use the quadratic formula. Right? So let's replace the numbers. This is negative, but the 8 is negative 2, so don't forget the 2 signs. Square minus 4AC. Now I'm just going to solve it. This one becomes positive. This is going to be 24. $88, right? Now, on this one, 88 can be divided into 2, right? 88 can be 4 and 22. So let's do that. So we could have square root of 4 and square root of 22. So x is going to be equal 8 plus and minus 2 square root of 22 divided by 6. Now, you can see this 8, the 2, and the 6. So I could factor the 2 out. Let's factor the 2 out would be 4 plus and minus square root of 22 divided by 6. And divided by 2 is 1. Divided by 2 is 3. So what I have left is 4 plus and minus the square root of 22 divided by 3. And this is equal to 4 plus the square root of 22 divided by 3. And 4 minus the square root of 22 divided by 3. with the 88. How do I know it's this 2? When we do let me do, what's the number? 88. Okay. Divided by 2 is 44, right? And by 2 is 22. And I cannot divide it by anything else. So the factors of 88 are what? 2 times 2 times 22. So right there, I know I have a 4. And 4 is a perfect square root. Okay? That's how I break down that. Okay, here's one that has fractions. So let's do it. Any questions on this one, guys? No questions on this one? So we have 1 over 8. There we go. So again, the first thing that I'm going to do, go ahead and write it down. Oh, this is okay. First thing, I'm going to multiply by 8 to get rid of the fractions. Okay. How do I do that? I'm just going to take and I'm going to multiply by 8. So what do I get? Just by 8, this is going to be what? X squared. 8 divided by 4 is 2x. 8 times 2, 16 equal to 0. Right? Now I know A is 1, B is negative 2, and C is negative 16. And let's use the square root property. The square root, the quadratic formula, sorry. So it's x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. So again, it's negative, and the b is negative 2. Plus and minus squared minus 4a times c. Okay, so we know this is going to be positive. We have a 4 here. This is A. Oh, here's a mistake, guys. You didn't cut it. This is A, and A is 1. So that's going to be positive, and 16 times 4 is 64 divided by 2. So what I get here is 2 plus a minus square root of what? 68 divided by 2. Now let's do the 68 just like we did the other number. So 68 divided by 2 is 34. By 2 is 17. And we're done here. So it's 2 times 2 times 17. Here is the perfect square root. So x is equal to 2 plus a minus the square root of 4 times the square root of 17 divided by 2. I see a 2 everywhere. So let me factor the 2. It will be a 1 plus a minus the square root of 17 divided by 2. So right here, we're making a 1, right? So what I get from here, my answer is going to be 1x is equal to 1 plus square root of 17. And the one is going to be 1 minus the square root of 17. Okay? Look at that. Let me know if you guys have questions. Now, I think I get this one. Oh, it's a little bit different. Yes. Let me do this one. This one has the I. So this is number 4. Look at this one. X squared plus 8x. So what do we say we need to do? Move the x, move the 20, right? So it's going to be plus 20. Because we need what? Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Don't forget that. So a is equal to 1, b is 8, and C is 20. So let's apply the quadratic formula again. So it's going to be minus B plus or minus, what am I doing? B squared minus 4AC. This is a B squared. So let's just minus and the 8 plus and minus 8 squared minus 4AC. That's the square root of that multiplied to A. So what do I get? I have a negative 8 plus and minus 64. This is what? 80. So what are we getting there? We're getting a negative number, a negative fraction, which is x is equal negative 8 plus 64 minus 80 is negative 16. And remember that we said that we're going to do one is going to be positive and the other one is we're going to divide that. Don't forget that this is equal to I. Keeps coming back. So we have negative 8 plus or minus, we know the square root of 16 is 14. It's 4, sorry. Times what? Times the I divided by 2. So now I have 8, 4, and 2. I'm going to factor out the 2. So I get negative 4 plus or minus 2I. I'm making a 1 there. So I have negative 4 plus or minus 2I. So my answer is going to be, one is going to be negative 4 plus 2I, and the other one is going to be negative 4 minus 2I. Take a look at this one because I do have another one with I. Let's do it. So the I was here because we have the negative square root of negative 16. And good morning, Emily. Let me just make up, I just want to show you something really quick here to the ones that just got here. Look at the schedule. This week we do chapter 9 and we're cutting it short, which is good for everybody. So take a look at the new schedule. Emily, where did it go? Right here. Emily, Erica, and Winston. I think Trini's got to see it. Okay, so we are right here. Last week in April. We're just almost done. And you guys are doing a great job. I'm going to post this. Don't worry about it. Now, let me go back to my screen. Let's do this one too. This will be our last one from here, okay? 4, this is 5. So what do? I'm moving everything to the side. Ay, ay, ay. Hold on. It should be this one plus x plus 2. As soon as it's right, I'll write down the x here. Okay? So what do I have here? I have an a equal to 2, b is 1, and c is 2. Then I'm going to apply this square root property. I don't know why I want to write the 4 since the beginning. B squared minus 4ac over 2a. There we go. So I have an x here. Don't forget that. So let's do it. Minus 1 plus a minus 1 squared 4ac. That's the square root of that over 2a. So this is equal to what? Plus or minus 1. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2, 16. Right? So what do I get here? Negative 1 plus a minus negative 15 over 4. Let me go back here. That will be what? Negative 1 plus a minus the square root of 15. We're going to divide it. That's how we do it with the imaginary numbers. So this is negative 1 plus a minus. What is this one? I. We're going to write the I in front of the square root. Divided by 4. So we have two answers there. One is going to be negative 1 plus I times the square root of 15 divided by 4. And the other one is going to be negative 1 minus I square root of 15 by 4. That's the one that I wanted to do. Mm. Done? I'll come back to this one. Let me keep going. I have one from Newton, but I need to do the 9.4. So I'll leave it open here. Any questions on this one? Okay, so let's do, that was 9.3. Solving quadratic equations by using the quadratic equation. That's what we did. And the first part was creating the quadratic formula from the standard form by completing the square, which you guys, I just ask you just to watch because you don't need to, you're not going to be doing this. And then we just start doing exercises using the quadratic formula. Now, let's do 9.4, which is solving by using quadratic methods. 9.4 by using this is 9.4. So then we're going to be solving quadratics that may not look like they are in quadratic form. So let's start with this one. It says solve, and we have first, what we notice that is different in this equation, of course, that we have a square root. Right away, we have a square root in the equation. How do we get rid of the square root? We need to isolate the square root first. That's what we learned. We isolate the square root, and then we square both sides of the equation. So let's do it. So we do, I'm going to subtract the x on both sides and add the 5. So it's going to be 5 minus x. So I get right? Now, before I do anything, I want to multiply by -1. I don't want this negative in front of that. So then I'm going to multiply the whole equation by -1. So I have, and then this one, what happens? The x becomes positive and the 5 becomes negative. Now I'm going to square both sides. When I square both sides, Hmm. I can even do it here. So this one gets rid of the square root. And what do we get here? We gotta multiply this. X minus 5 times x minus 5. X squared minus 5x minus 5x plus 25. Right? X squared minus 10x plus 25. Now let's move every combined like terms, right? So we have I'm doing that in one step, okay? I'm not doing it in two steps. So what do I have? So right here, I'm gonna factor this two numbers. That would be 8 and 3, 24. And when I add them, I get negative 11. So this is gonna give me two answers, right? One x will be x will be equals to what? To 8, and x will be equals to 3. We have two answers. Now with those two answers, I need to check. So let's do that. I'm gonna check with this one first. And I have so we have 8 minus 8 plus 1. And it is true, right? What do I get here? So this is an answer so far. Okay, let's go and check this one. So we have a 3, 3 plus 1 minus 5. No, right? Negative 4 is not equal. So the only answer is this one. X equals to 8. Go ahead. Write it down. Oh, oops, oops, oops. We could have, instead of doing this factoring, we could have done, we were supposed to be doing the quadratic formula. Okay, but I didn't do it. And I believe that's okay. Okay. So when we are we're solving equations using the quadratic method, if we can factor the polynomial, We're going to do that and apply the zero factor property, which was this one. It says that if the equation is in the form of ax let me show you this part. That's what I was reading. So if we can if you can factor it, the polynomial, so do it and apply the zero factor property. If the equation is this in this form, do the square root property, which we did here. We did it in this one. We applied the square root property. And it says if you cannot factor the polynomial, use the quadratic formula. But we were able to factor it. So that's why we use the quadratic formula. But we could have just go straight and use the quadratic formula. Let's do more exercises. I believe we did this one. Hold on. Okay. X minus the square root of 3 So let me write it down again. What do I do in this case? Apply the square root property. So what do I get? I get x minus the square root of 3 equals to what? How do I divide the 12? Can be divided the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. And this is going to be 2 the square root of 3. Now I'm going to add this on both sides. So I get x is equal square root of 3 plus a minus 2 square root of 3. So let's do the solutions. One solution is going to be x equal to the square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 3. What is this equal to? 3 square root of 3, right? You guys see that? And then this one is going to be square root of 3 minus 2 square root of 3. So I have a 1. Remember, you have a 1 here. So this is going to be negative 1, if you want to write it down, square root of 3, or negative square root of 3. The exercises that I have here Hold on. This is like the one that we were doing. What do? I just move it, right? So I'm going to add 1 on both sides. I get plus 1. So I'm going to apply the square root property right away. Not that, I mean, the quadratic formula. A is 2, B is 2, and C is 1. Perfect. And here's my quadratic formula, plus and minus. So let's do it. Minus 2 plus and minus 2 squared AC. Okay, so this is negative 2 plus and minus. We get a 4 here and an 8. Oh, this one is going to be a negative. So this is going to be what? Negative 2 plus and minus square root of negative 4. So what is this one equal to? We have 1 positive and 1 negative. I over 4. Remember, this is I. Now, 2, 2, and 4. I'm going to factor out. Good morning, Gabrielle. And let me factor the 2 out. That's what I need to do. It will be, there we go. So I could simplify it here, right? Another way to show you this is 2 times 2. So we're making a 1 here. So x is going to be equal to negative 1 plus and minus I divided by 2. And again, x is equal to negative 1 plus I divided by 2. Negative 1 minus I divided by 2. Remember, you're always going to have 2 answers. Emily, if you want to stick around after class, you got a couple minutes? Okay, so we did that. Now let's do this one. Emily, you have time after class?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. So look at this one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x Mm-hmm. So what do we do when we have different denominators in an equation? We create common denominators, meaning we match the denominators, meaning we find the lowest common denominator. And then we can ignore the denominators after we do that. So let's do it. Here will be, this needs to be multiplied by x and by x. This one by x plus 1 and by x plus 1. And this one has both. So now you see how they match? X, x plus 1, x, x plus 1. They all match. Now, here I end up with 5x squared. On this one, I have x plus 4 times x plus 1. Right? So I'm only going to use the numerators. So it's going to be x 5x squared minus equal to 3. We gotta solve this one. Remember the negative sign that we have in front. So it's going to be, let me keep the parentheses here. Go ahead and do this multiplication, those two binomials, and you get this. Now, let's apply the negative. This is going to be negative, negative, and negative. All right? So now we combine the like terms, right? Here we go. 5 minus 1 is 4x squared minus 5x minus 4. But what do I do with it? That's okay. Let's subtract the 3. So it's going to be 4x squared minus 5x minus 7 equal to 0. Right here, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So we have A is 4, B is negative 5, and C is negative 7. X is equal. I'm going to write it down here. Minus B right? So we have it there. Minus B squared minus 4AC over 2A. So this is going to be 5 positive. This is going to be 25. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 7 is 112. 25 by 112 is 137. I can't do anything with that square root. I cannot break it down into two, one perfect and the remainder, no. So this is going to be 5 plus the square root of 137 divided by 8. And the other one is going to be 5 minus divided by 8. You know? Now let's do this. Look at this one. Do you guys recognize the factoring method there? We're going to be doing substitution. So we're going to let y be equal to x plus 2. So if y is equal to x plus 2, this is going to be y squared minus 2y minus 3. You guys see that? At the end, we have to unsubstitute, okay? So we're going to factor this. We have a y and a y times 3, right? 3 times 1. There we go. So y minus 3 is equal to 0, or y plus 1 is equal to 0. Y is equal to 3, and y is equal to negative 1. So we're going to go back and replace that. We gotta do both. So let's take, we have y equals to x plus 2, right? And we have y equals to 3. So it's going to be x plus 2 equals to 3, right? Here says y equals to 3. So I'm going, x is going to be equal to 1 on this side. Now let's do this one. It says y is equal to negative 1. So you guys see that? How we I do have another one like that one that we could do. Okay. Mm -hmm. And I do have some exercises from Newton. Mm-hmm. Look at this one. This one is W minus 3 squared plus 5. So right here, first, we are going to subtract the 6. So it's going to be W minus 3 squared plus 5 minus 3 minus 6 equal to 0. There we go. Now we're going to let y equals to W minus 3. So if we do that, this is going to be y squared plus 5y minus 6. We factor this. One is positive and the other one is negative. Okay, so then y plus 6 is equal to 0. Y is equal to negative 6. For y minus 1. So now we're going to take this back here. So it's going to be negative 6 equals to y minus 3. If I add 3 on both sides, y is going to be equal to negative 3. Right? And on this side, I'm going to do exactly the same. So this is going to be 1. If I add 3 on both sides, remember, it's exactly the same if I say negative 3 equals to w or w equals to negative 3. Doesn't matter. Wow, I even have, I guess you could use any method. You could use the square root here. Okay, let's do this one's from Newton. Okay, hold on. Let me go into the homework really quick. This is 9.4. Uh-huh. Okay. Give me a second. I'm looking at the ones that you guys have there. Okay, here it is. We gotta do this. 9.4. Okay, so look at this one. So the first part that we're gonna do there is what we have here. Take a look at this. What is this one? This is x squared and square again, right? This is x to the fourth. So we're gonna let's say what letter? U be equal to x squared. Okay? So how are we doing that? This is going to be 8. And remember, what do we have? X squared right? So what I have there, I said that u is equal to x squared, right? Here's my x squared, here's my x squared, okay? So 8u, I need to keep the square there, 42u plus 40. I can use the square root property. Okay, we could use the square root property here, or we could use the square, the box, sorry, the box method. So it's either one that we could use. We could do A, B, or A. I have it done with the box. But I want to know how it turns out with the square, with using the quadratic formula. Let's do it with the quadratic formula and see if we get the same answer. Yeah, because I need to factor it. Okay, so we have A is 8, B is negative 42, and C is 40. Okay, so you guys are gonna help me on this one. Oh, there we go. So what do I have? I have um, I'm doing the quadratic formula. So we're going to have minus 42 negative 42 squared minus 4a and c. A is 8 and c is 40 over 2/8. This is positive plus and minus. This is 1764. And this is going to be 4 times 8, 32 times 40. 2/8 was 16. So I have 42 plus and minus. Let me, 1700 is 484 over 16. The square root of 484 is 22. So I'll have two answers. One is going to be 42 plus 22 divided by 16. Let me do that. 42 plus 22 divided by 16. That gives us a 4. 42 minus 22. This is a fraction. So by 4, this is 5, and by 4, this is 4. Okay? So I got one u equals to 4 and another u equals to 5 over 4. That's exactly what I got doing the box. Now we go back to we're going to replace, but because we said that u was equal to x squared. So on the first one that I have is u equals to 4, right? So I have x squared equals to 4, right? U equals to x squared. So x squared equals to 4. Now I'm going to apply the square root. So x is equal to plus and minus 2. This is one side. Now u is equal to 5 over 4. So it's going to be x squared equals 5 over 4. I'm applying the square root property. So what do I get? X is equal plus and minus what? Square root of 5 over 2. So here are my two answers. So I will have 2 and 2, 4 answers. So it will be you will have 4 answers, okay, with this substitution method. And you could do it using the quadratic formula. I think I like it better than having to go back to the box method. Uh-huh. Um, these ones are the same as what we just did. Mm-hmm. 15. I could do another one of these. Oh, they want us to check the solutions too. Okay, let me do another one. This is from Newton too. So we have it's a lot easier to do it with the quadratic formula. So look what we have. 72 mm-hmm. Yes, they all are like that. So now, remember that we said that x squared equals to x to the fourth power. So we're going to let, again, let's use the u, be equal to what? To x squared. So we're going to have 72 okay, so that's going to be, what do I have? Okay, so we're going to replace it. 72 u squared minus 74 u plus 14 equals to 0. And we do the same thing. A is 72, B is negative 74, and C is 14. And we're going to apply the quadratic formula. And here's the quadratic formula. B squared minus 4AC over 2A. So it's going to be U equals minus B, that is already negative, plus a minus negative 74 squared minus 4A times C over what? 2A. Oh, yes, 2A. So this is positive. Let me do that. 5, 4, 7, 6. 4 times 72 times 14, that's 4,032. Mhm. So let me subtract that. So this is 74 plus a minus the square root of 1,444. Let me get the square root. Perfect. This is 74 plus a minus 38 divided by 144. So we're going to have two answers here. One is going to be 74 plus 38 divided by 144. No, so then 74 plus 38, this is 112, 144. By 2, we're going to divide by 2 is 56. 72 by 228 by 236 14 by 2 18 7 and 9 right there. So 1u is equal to 7 over 9. The other one is 74 minus 38 divided by 144. 74 minus 38. 36 is what? By half is 18. By half is 72. This is 9 and this is 36. This is 3 and by 3 I believe is 12. That's going to be 1 over 4 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So 1u is going to be equal to 7 over 4 and 1 over 4. So let's take that and we need to replace. We have that u is equal to x squared. Okay, so let's do the first one. 7 over 9. So I have x squared is equal to 7 over 9. Apply the square root property on both sides. And what do I get? X is equal to plus or minus what? Square root of 7 over what? Over 3, right? Because I know that this is equal to, now the other one is u equals to 1 over 4. So it's x squared equals to 1 over 4. Apply the square root property, and we know it's going to be plus a minus what? 1 over 2, right? So that's what I say there are 4 answers, because I'm going to have x is going to be equal to negative square root of 7 over 3, 1 over 2, and negative 1 over 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4 answers.